So, welcome to Deep in the Den. This is episode 5. I think it's episode 5. Today's guest is me, PazStreams. Um, right, for people who are watching on YouTube, just to start, this is going to be a huge trigger warning throughout the show, from the onset and throughout, as they say. Um, Stuff like suicide, death, mental health, depression, anxiety, stuff like that. So if you feel like things are going to affect you and trigger you, please don't watch. There will be links below in the YouTube video for stuff like mental health awareness and places you can go to talk, or you can just come to me or one of my team because we're more than happy to sit and talk to you for as long as you need. You know what I mean? Yeah, let's get straight into it. Okay, today I'm going to be talking about the forever falling of 2020. I came up with that that title the other night because I was thinking the rise and fall of 2020, but then, as you will soon come to realize, there was no rise. It was just constant fall. But we're gonna start with the first domino. Yeah, the first domino was placed July 15th, 2019. It's not 2020, but that's where the domino starts. July 15th, 2019 was my first day in work as a support worker. I work with autistic gentlemen. I support their living, so I help them have a better life, basically. And that's my current job also. So that's when it started. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. We're going to call the one gentleman, we're going to call him John, because that was his nickname for me. He called me John all the time, just to wind me up. So we're going to call him John. So I first started, and me and John instantly connected. You know what I mean? He loved me. He wound me up all the time. He just wind me up. He would smile and he'd be like, "I'm winding you up, ain't I?" But he was a good man. He was a good man. He's autistic, like I said. So he had his troubles, you know. But yeah. So that's when it started, July 15th, 2019. And obviously, as the months go by, our bond got stronger. And I would consider him. I know you're not supposed to really in the field of work I work in, but I considered him a friend. You know, I would work there 5 days a week, 60 hours a week sort of thing. So I was there all the time. That was like my second life sort of thing. So then, so yes, our bond grew. You know, we'd sing songs together. We'd play games. Talk about fire trucks and all this stuff and the Beatles. You love the Beatles, and so yeah, that brings us all the way up until December. And in December, John wanted to go on holiday, like a Christmas break sort of thing. So we booked a holiday up until mid Wales somewhere. I forget where it was exactly, but up in mid Wales, and yeah, we stayed there for the weekend. So we went up on the 14th of December in a little log cabin. It had a jacuzzi, all good stuff. It was a lovely place, but it was in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. Like, you had to drive like half an hour to the nearest shop, sort of thing. It was in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, the first day we drove around. We went and had some lunch. We got in the hot tub. We had a good time. We went to bed then, and then the next day happened. December 15th, 2019. We woke up. I made us all breakfast. I made us a good big old cooked breakfast: sausages, bacon, toast, a lot, eggs, and he loved it. He ate every single bit of it. And then we drove down to this huge waterfall sort of thing. It's like a dam, but it's a beautiful place, massive, like gargantuan waterfall. So we drove down there. It was me and another colleague. Obviously, can't say any names, but I was with another colleague at the time. So yeah, we drove down there with John. It was brilliant. This is where it gets sort of weird. John struggled to walk. He could walk, but he would struggle to walk because of his foot. But when we got there, he was running around. He was running. He was laughing. He was smiling. It was crazy. It was like what the fuck sort of thing. It was nuts. Yeah, we went and saw the waterfall. We took a few pictures. It was lovely, all stuff like that. And then we got back in the car listening to Michael Bublé, because it was Christmas, of course. jamming to that. Chris singing in the back, singing the Beatles while Michael Bublé was on. I was like, Chris, man, get with the times. Do you know what I mean? It was lovely. And then we got back to the lodge, and John was John went to the toilet. Um, and I opened up a packet of fruit, assorted fruit, melon, stuff like that. And I had it in my hand, and John then come up behind me. He took a piece of melon, put it in his mouth, and then proceeded to chew. And then so I looked at him. I said, "Only the one, because you just stole my fruit, dude. Come on now." So then we went and sat down. Uh, we went and sat down on the sofa. Um, and he looked at me and he said, "John," called me John. I said, "John, I'm choking." I said, "Huh? What are you talking about?" "I'm choking. Can I have a glass of water?" So I said, "Yeah, of course you can." Um, so I went and grabbed him a glass of water. He downed the whole thing. I was like, "Are you okay?" Like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And he goes, "No, I'm not. I'm choking." So stand him up and start hitting him on the back. And then it got worse from there, sort of thing. I won't go into too much detail, of course, because it is very gruesome what happened. Um, but yeah, after 5 or so, I don't remember the specific times, but after about 5 minutes or so, his lips started to turn blue. Um, he was screaming, he collapsed on the floor. He was choking. So I had to give him CPR. The most traumatic thing about it, because I don't know if any of you have ever dealt with CPR or anything, but you pretty much, the very low chance you won't break the ribs. And the way I was doing it, the way I was trained to do it, I broke all of the ribs. I heard the cracking every single time, the cracking, sort of thing. And yeah, he passed away in my arms then, right then. And then the paramedics came. Of course, they came like 20 minutes later. Um, obviously, like I said, we're in the middle of nowhere, so um, yeah, the paramedics came. They were in there for a little bit, and then they come out and it was like, yeah, he passed away before we even got here. And I was like, yeah, I know. I saw him pass away, sort of thing. So yeah, that was the start. That was the dominoes that sort of set in motion. That was the most traumatic thing I ever went through at that point in time, which of course, was rough. Especially I was 19 at the time. Going through something like this, having a friend die in your arms, it's a big crazy, and it sets you back a few years, or set you forward a few years, I suppose. Um, yeah, that happened, and then obviously in the afternoon, police came. They the standard procedure sort. And then around 6 o'clock, sort of thing, me and the colleague, we drove home. Obviously, we're not gonna stay up there, are we? Like, this shit just happened, sort of thing. So yeah, we drove home, and yeah, then Georgia come and picked me up then from the house that I work at, because we drove to the house. Georgia come and pick me up. I come home, and then I just broke down. Obviously, like, I broke down while I was there. I was crying. But I got home and I just fucking, everything just sort of broke down. Do you know what I mean? Um, as it would, of course. It's traumatic stuff. Um, I keep saying a lot. I do apologize. It's whatever. Just listen. Um, yeah. So that was that day. My good friend Max at the time was over my house. He cutting my brother's hairs. So he was there. Georgia was there. They comforted me. They made me feel a bit better. Um, they were really good about it, and I felt a bit at ease. But what I didn't know at that time was I was still in shock. So I weren't really taking it all in, like what actually just happened. So I was just sort of sat there, like, right, I'm okay. That's what I kept saying. I'm okay. But then Georgia went home. Max went home, and I was sat on my own in this bed, right by there. Sat there, and I was like, right. And I started to blame myself. as you know, as you would in that situation, I started to blame myself. You know, it's my fault. It's my fault. It was technically my melon. You know, this is um. I just had a massive breakdown. Then in the next coming days, then I started to build up and get a bit better and a bit better. And then fast forward to hang on, got a list. Um, Fast forward to Christmas, of course. Christmas was good. It felt good. I saw Georgia. You know, we had a good time. Georgia surprised me with a trip to Ireland, which was the best experience of my entire life. It was fucking phenomenal. I'll never forget it. To go the Game of Thrones tour, and if anyone knows me, know I love Game of Thrones. It's like my life. So yeah, that's what got me for Christmas. So I was over the moon. Like I thought everything was good. Everything was good. Life is good. Life is gonna go up. And then fast forward a week later, January 1st, my birthday. Oh, we'll backtrack a couple hours. So New Year's Eve, December 31st. Georgia was she was swamped with uni work, so she couldn't come and see me, and I was a bit down. I was a bit sad. I was like, I don't really want to spend my birthday on my own, sort of thing. You know, that's awful, spending your birthday on your own. So what I did, I took it upon myself. I took a bus at about 10 o'clock. I stood outside her house and I gave it a text. I was like, I'm outside. Oh, look outside your window. And she looked. She was like, oh my God, is this you? So we went in. So I spent like the last 2 hours of the year with her. Did Happy New Year, you know. And then she drove me home. It was really nice. It was really, really nice. But then I got home about 1:30 a.m. Because Georgia dropped me home. And then I find out on my birthday, January 1st, my my grandmother passed away, so that was a bit of a yikes sort of thing. So as soon as I got home, my mother and father were like in a rush to drive to wherever they drove to go see my grandmother, of course. So I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" It's like then shit started to come back, sort of thing. It sort of like triggered me off a little bit. Um, Obviously, it set things back in motion. I was like, "Oh my, like, what the fuck's happening?" You know, I thought things were getting good again, and now they're sort of wobbling. Um, and then in like the next couple of days, I had a little talk of myself. You know, I talked to my family, talked to Georgia, talked to friends. I started to get good again. I started to get okay. And then there was this one friend. I won't mention his name. Doesn't deserve it. There was this one friend in the friend group who took it upon himself to then call me a murderer. He was joking at the time, but as someone who's just gone through something that traumatic and that he started calling me a murderer. Um, which really shook me. Like the first time he done it, I was in the Discord call and I just went cold. I just sat there. I was like, "What?" Like he was supposed to be a friend. Do not joke about that sort of thing. That is not something that you joke about at all. You know, not in that that sort of time frame. Anyway, so yeah, my friends started to be awful, and then we fast forward to January 16th, which is John's funeral. And on this day, just before the funeral, I sent my best friend of 16 years. I sent him a huge paragraph, basically saying like, "You've been an awful person," because he was there on the day that it happened on December 15th, and he, you know, comforted me, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm here whenever you need me. Whenever you need me, just call me." And obviously, in the coming days, I did call him, and I was messaging him. I was like, "You know, I need someone. Can you come over?" And oh man, I'm busy. Okay. And then I'd see on his story he was over at, you know, another friend's house, uh, smoking drugs, sort of thing. So I was like, right. And then in a sense, it was sort of my fault for putting not so much trust, but I suppose yeah, so much trust in him that he would come and actually help me. But yeah, he ignored me until January 16th. And I sent him this huge paragraph, and then you know, so I cut that friendship off, sort of thing. Um, I just saw in the chat, then fucking prick, yeah, fucking prick, pretty much. Yeah, I cut him off. But I still stuck with the other friends. The other group of friends who were like joking around, called me a murderer. I still stuck with them. You know, in times like that, you don't really know what to do. You know, I didn't have many friends at the time. Um, so it was either, you know, take it on the chin and keep your friends, or get rid of them and be alone, sort of thing. So I, the bitch, and I stayed with them, sort of thing. Um, then we fast forward. Obviously, the funeral was rough. It was very rough, but it was also nice for closure. That's something that, as I go through this list here, I need closure to move on. I can't deal with no closure. So that was really good for me. Um, then we go to January 20th. Things were getting good again. I was starting to feel okay. Starting to feel, you know, I was starting to feel okay with myself. And then, boom, I get an email from my lawyer. Uh, I can't say exactly what the criminal charge was, but they were investigating me with a criminal charge. I just turned 20 years of age. This criminal charge would have put me in prison for a long, long time. So, for me, everything sort of, again, shut down. Um, I don't know if I was suicidal at the time, but I was like, my life is ended. What is the point? Like, I thought, like, there's no chance that I'm getting out of this. You know, this is the end. But then I went and spoke to my lawyer, and he sort of put me at peace a little bit. This was before all the COVID stuff, so we met up and he went through it, and we made a statement, sort of, and he made me feel much, much better. But still, it was in the back of my head. But January 27th was when I went to Ireland with Georgia, Belfast. So I took the criminal charge stuff, I put it in the back of the head, and I didn't want to think about it. So I had 3 days away in Belfast, the best time of my entire life. I can't stress it enough. I was at peace when I was there. You know, I was with the love of my life. And Game of Thrones. You know, what can go wrong? It was brilliant. But then I come home, and everything again unravels, reverts, and I'm back to square one. That's when early February, or I've jotted down here, could have been earlier, is when my PTSD started to kick in. Because in early January, I was offered therapy, and I accepted. I was like, yes, please, can I have therapy? I wasn't given it till July, but we'll get into that. But that's when my PTSD started kicking in. I would start to hear the crack of the bones all the time. I'd be laying in bed, and I'd get goosebumps, and my hair would stick up, and I'd feel sick. I couldn't eat. You know, I was getting flashbacks. I was getting PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, that was really rough. And well, in early February, I finally buckled up, and I left that friend group that I talked about. Georgia sort of sat me down. She was like, "Listen, stop being a bitch. You know, these are not your friends. They're calling you a murderer. They're not respecting what's happened. They're not your friends." So I was like, "Yeah, no, they're not my friends. Fuck them." So sort of, I didn't say anything. I just left, sort of thing. I just sort of fucked off. That was that. So, you know, I was going for PTSD at the time. I left my friends. I felt alone. All I had was Georgia, which put a lot of stress on her, of course. Obviously, as it would. I hate to admit it, but I was very dependent on her at the time. You know, I wasn't getting therapy. I was going through PTSD, depressed, and I was very dependent on her to make me feel safe, to make me feel happy, which is an awful thing to do. But at the same time, I'm not blaming myself. You know, I'd do it again, because at the end of the day, that's what saved my life. At the end of the day, and I'm forever grateful for what she did, if it did affect our relationship. Um, then March comes along. We all know what happened in March. COVID. Yeah, lockdown. You know, I was pretty much in lockdown since December, so I was like, right, this is brilliant. You know, I couldn't see my girlfriend anymore. Like, right, now I am truly alone, sort of thing. And in my relationship, you know, we weren't the type of people to call all the time. You know, we weren't the type of people to FaceTime all the time. But she liked her space, and I respected it. She had her space. So I was truly, truly alone. So then I sort of reverted back, and I got very toxic, as in that I went back to the friend group. But I did make a slight change. The one friend in there that uh, was calling me a murderer and joking about stuff that happened with John. I made like a subgroup with all of the boys besides him, sort of thing, because the one that gave me like major anxiety. Every time he popped up in the chat, I'd shiver. I hated it. So yeah, I made like a subgroup, and we were all chilling. Um, it was good again. I was with my friends. We were playing CS:GO. We were playing GTA. It was fun. You know, I felt good. But also in March, I had Ace, as you know. You know, Ace of Hearts in chat, boys. If you've got him, we had Ace. Ace become obviously my dog. You know, I bought him, and he become like my stress relief. Was my replacement for Georgia at the time. Um, you know, he was the most affectionate, loving dog I've ever met in my life, and he got me through the worst of it. He was brilliant. I loved Ace with all my heart, and I still do. But that's when Ace come into play. Uh, then let's fast forward to like the end of June. Georgia fully knocked some sense into my ass, and she was like, "Right, these are not your friends." Like I said it before, I'm going to say it again. They're not your friends because they started to get bad again. They started to become just horrible people. I'm not going to go into the specifics, but they were awful people. You know, I've had my stuff in the past where, you know, I made racist jokes in the past. That's, you know, I don't own it or anything, but I did it. You know, and I've owned up to it. But I sort of, in my relationship, Georgia taught me a lot of morals, and that was a main one. Like, because like I had the mindset back then, it was like, it's a joke. Who cares? I didn't understand the domino effect of that joke. It's an enabler. If you make a racist joke, it's an enabler. I don't know what you say about it, but I didn't understand that. But then Georgia sort of thing. So I went back to the friend group. I was like, listen, I'm not going to make these jokes anymore. You know, they're disgusting, and I'd prefer if you stop making them as well. And they'd call me a simp, a soy boy, a fucking idiot. You know, oh, Georgia's changed you. Georgia's so controlling. And I'd be like, what the fuck? But that added to my anxiety sort of thing. I was like, I don't want to be in a friend group where I'm getting penalised for being a good person sort of thing. So I left them for good. I blocked them all. I deleted them. That was them. Gone. But I started streaming around this time. So they would come into the stream and they'd put like abusive shit messages in the stream. That it was a trigger for me. It set me back again. It took me back a few months, and it really fucking like if you're an OG here, you would have seen it. If they popped up in the chat and they started saying shit, I'd go cold sort of thing, and I'd end the stream because I couldn't really handle it. Yeah, that happened 3 or 4 times. It was crazy, and I hated it. They're horrible fucking people at the end of the day. But yeah, so we sorted them. We banned all of their accounts. We were good. We were sitting pretty. Obviously, during this whole timeline, I'm still suffering with PTSD, stress, depression, anxiety. You know, a sprinkle of suicidal thoughts in there a little bit. Luckily, I didn't do anything. Of course, I'm still here. But then July, good old July. I have 3 dogs. I had 3 dogs: Billy, Teddy, and Ace. In July, Teddy ran out the door and got hit by a Hummer, a big old car. Completely whacked him. I watched it happen. It was extremely traumatic. As you see your dog, you know, of 12 years get run over, and he was there flat on the ground. He weren't moving, dead. So I go over. The car that hit him slowed down and then sped off. I didn't get the number plate because I was so like, whoa. I nearly got hit by a big white van. I was like this far away from getting hit as well. But I weren't really thinking. I just grabbed Teddy, put him on my floor outside my house. I was like, whoa. So I started like, it wasn't really CPR, but I was like moving him around. I was like, wake up. You know, he's bleeding. And he started to move. So, my God, hey, there's a chance that he's alive now. So I took him into my bedroom. Whole family are screaming, you know, fucking, oh my God. Obviously, with me going through what I've just been through, I sort of, when I'm in these situations, I just shut off and I just do it, and then I deal with it. I deal with the emotional aspect afterwards. But at that time, I'm fucking zoned in. I got to get it done. So I had him in a towel in my bedroom. My sister came over, took him to the vet. he was good. He's healthy. He's alive. His leg is broken. His leg is still fucked to this day. He struggles to balance on it. He's an old boy, but he was alive. It was brilliant, but it was also traumatic seeing my dog get run over. 12 years old dog. I've had him since I was a kid. It was hard, but we saved his life. Do you know what I mean? Brought him back from the dead. So that was that. And then August. August is why I was tempted to call it the rise and fall of 2020, because August was a good month. It was a brilliant month. Police phoned me. Criminal charges were dropped. They didn't have any evidence, any incriminating evidence towards me. It was dropped. I was a free man. Everything sort of. I can't explain the feeling of like euphoria that I had when I had that email, I had that text. I just felt good. I felt happy. I felt amazing. I felt like on top of the fucking world, sort of thing. So I celebrated. I had a couple of drinks, and I just saw Georgia. Because lockdown sort of stopped at this time. So I got to see Georgia. I was feeling amazing. Didn't last long, obviously. Early September, I had a good friend. I will not mention his name, just family. He sent me a message on Facebook. Because me and him used to be really close in my old job. He sent me a message. He's like, "Oh, I just saw an Aldi van." Because me and him used to talk about Aldi. I just saw an Aldi van and I thought of you, and how much I fucking hated you is what he said. So I said, "I'm glad you think so highly of me. I love you too, man." Then he was like, "Yeah, I'm joking, then." Yeah, of course I do. How are you, man? How are you? And he left the message read. Well, that afternoon, I found out he took his own life. No one was around. Luckily, they found him, obviously, but he took his own life. So again, I sort of crumbled a little. My good friend, he just messaged me. I didn't speak to him for like a year, and he messaged me. I hate to think that he messaged me if when he was in that place, he took his own life, sort of thing. And obviously, like, the stuff that goes through your head is like, could I have done something different? Could I have said something? But I didn't know. I thought he was good. But he posted something on Facebook then. Obviously, before he even messaged me, it was like, time to get off the train. And I didn't think much of it. I didn't think anything of it. Like, he's just being silly. Being a dum-dum. You know what I mean? And then he messaged me. I was like, oh, he's doing good. And then I find out, obviously, he took his life. So that was a big kick in the jaw sort of thing. It was like, whoa. It's like as soon as I have a little taste of normality, happiness, it just gets fucking shot back down straight away. And that is the theme in the entire 2020. And it gets worse. Yeah, that happened. He took his own life, and then I had another suicide scare. One of my friends, I won't mention his name, of course, posted something in a story, and then because this happened with my other friend. It happened a week before, so I took it like it twanged my brain. I was like, right, he's gonna end his life as well. I was ringing him, I was phoning him, he wasn't picking up. So I was like, listen, I'm gonna do what I couldn't do last week. I'm gonna phone the police. I'm gonna send him to his house. Phoned the police. They went to his house. He was okay, thank God. I couldn't deal with another one fucking within a week. Then let's fast forward to October. October was a cool month. Me and George, we went to a pumpkin patch. I've never been to one of them before. We picked some pumpkins, carved them. It was brilliant. It was good. And then lockdown 2.0 come into play. Just as everything was getting good, it was like, yeah, fuck you, sort of thing. Like it's not happening. So yeah, lockdown 2 happened. Well, I couldn't see Georgia anymore. I was again alone, but I had Ace. I had my lizard. I had my family. I was doing okay. And also like a month prior, sorry, I skipped over this. In August time or July, I then got my therapy. So that's why I was sort of on the incline up. I was getting better with myself. I wasn't dependent on Georgia as much. You know, I was doing my own thing, getting therapy. I was good. Uh, so in October, early October, late September, my therapy ended. I felt good. I felt positive. Obviously, lockdown 2.0 happened, knocked me back a few steps, but I was okay. Realistically, I was still streaming. I still had a good community around me. I still had people to talk to. I was happy. Um, then November came around. Um, and Ace and Billy, they started to fight. They always had a little bit of a tiff with each other, but they were okay. But then in November, they started to get really bad. Um, like, because Ace is a bulldog, he's a French bulldog. He has lockjaw. He'd snap onto Billy, and he wouldn't let go. You know, we'd literally have to cut off his air supply for them to let go. And that happened a few times until it got really bad towards the end of November when Billy, for no reason at all, like, like I said, I'm not biased in any way. Ace was the most loving dog I've ever met in my life. Um, he was brilliant. He would do nothing. Ace would just be sat there and Billy would go for him. He'd want it. It's not like a fight. He wanted to kill him. And the last time, Billy latched onto his head and ripped a scar from the top of his head all the way down to close to his eye. So Ace was screaming, crying. Fuck. So I had a choice to make. It was either put Billy down. Billy is 8 years of age. I've had him for 8 years. Either put Billy down or find Ace a new home. And this was a fucking hard decision to make, because bear in mind, Ace was my comfort animal. He was there for me when, he was like my best friend at the time. I loved him. I, slept with him, he was just a good dog, and I loved him. So, I had to make that decision. I spoke with the family. We all made the decision together ultimately to find him a new home. So we did. We had to find him a new home. And he went to a close friend. So he's still around the area, but it's just cruel for me to go and visit him, sort of thing. He's in a good home now. He's in a healthy home. He goes for walks. He does all this. Happy now, but it's still. I lost that one pillar that got me through the whole year. So I was pretty much. I went back at rock bottom, but I was low. I lost my best friend. I lost my dog. Do you know what I mean? I was really upset. But then just to top it off, me and the whole family, we then got COVID. It didn't affect me as much. I had it for about a day. I had a high fever, but then I lost my taste and smell for 3 weeks. But what it did do was put my two little brothers, 14 and 15, put them in ICU for about 3 weeks. It was very uncertain whether they were going to make it or not, especially the one night. The one night was the worst because the doctors, they phoned up my mum and they said, "Do you want to come and say goodbye to Bradley?" If you guys don't know, I lost a brother when I was 2 years of age. My mother obviously lost a son. So it was very like, she doesn't want to lose another son. I don't want to lose another brother, sort of thing. So it was rough. Christmas was cancelled. Everything was just stale. Like every single day was dull and the same. We're getting updates from the doctors. Bradley was the worst. He was in this big machine with a big old mask. Needed oxygen and stuff. But again, luckily, they came out of it. They did. They come out of it. They're alive. They're healthy. They're breathing. It's all good. Then we get up to Christmas. Bear in mind, I can't stress this enough. Christmas is my favorite time of the year. It always is. I love Christmas. It feels amazing. And Christmas from April was my one goal to be happy. You know what I mean? Christmas was my one saving grace, sort of thing. I was excited, and then we got the news. Yo, Christmas going into lockdown 3.0, baby. That was a bit rough, but I was still with my family. I could still see Georgia. I was happy. I was more than happy. Even if I just saw Georgia, I was fucking over the moon. I was like, yes, this is great. Whatever. Doesn't really affect me. Anyway, Christmas comes around. I see Georgia. We opened our presents together. It was amazing. It was good. She goes home. December 26th. You know, was a bit of a boring day. It's Boxing Day. You know, meh, sort of thing. But things started to get weird. Georgia started to be a little bit offish. Right, okay. I'm just gonna go to sleep, wake up, fresh new day tomorrow. December 27th comes around. Me and Georgia are just chatting. I think we were talking about birthday presents or some shit, and then out of the blue, and I mean this, I'm not gonna go into detail, of course, because I will respect her in this sense. It's her story to tell, also. So, I'll tell my side of the story as close as I can. Completely out of the blue, random as fuck. I get a text to end a 2-year relationship. For reasons I still don't know to this day. She gave me a reason, but it wasn't a reason that was acceptable, sort of thing. Especially not acceptable to end a relationship over text over 2 years. You know what I mean? And that was she broke up with me. If you couldn't tell. And that, out of every single thing that happened in 2020, as traumatic and disgusting and awful as every single thing in that year was, this was the one thing that shattered me. And I mean shattered. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I still struggle to eat, I still struggle to sleep. It happened about just over 2 weeks ago. Like I said earlier, it's a massive point. I don't deal well with no closure. I need closure to move on. I completely respected the decision to move on, you know, whether she had a reason or not, or whether she just felt it was her time to move on. That's her choice to make. But for me, I didn't deal with it well at all, you know. I sort of relapsed. I started smoking again. Started being unhealthy. I stopped eating. I stopped sleeping. I was just crying all day. I was just depressed. You know, I was listening to bad music as you do. I didn't want to speak to anyone. I was reading our book. Made me this book for our anniversary. I was just sat there reading that over and over. I read it about 15 times in one night. You know what I mean? It was rough. It was incredibly rough. I read it about 15 times, and it was really, really upsetting to me. And it still is upsetting to me. I'm getting over it. I'm getting better. But like I said, that is why in the chat, George is no longer here. Gone. Like I said, I don't want to send any hate towards the girl. I totally respect her, and I forgive her for whatever she did. I hold no grudges towards her, because that's what my therapist told me to do. But yeah, I'm getting better. But that is the forever falling of 2020. That is what I went through. I went through suicidal stages. Oh fuck! I forgot to even my birthday, my 21st birthday, January 1st. She broke up with me 3-4 days before my 21st birthday. So my 21st birthday, I spent on my own. You know, I didn't even get a happy birthday or nothing like that. So I was sat here, literally sat here. It hit midnight, and I expected like a happy birthday or just a nice little text. Nah. If you remember, in 2019, I surprised her. I was outside her door and I sent her the text. I'm outside. I surprised her. In my stupid fucking head, I thought she was gonna do the same for me. Like, I'm outside. Do you want to come out and talk? So I had my hopes up. Yeah. When realistically, they should have been fucking down here after what she. But yeah. So I spent my 21st birthday alone, sad, depressed. It was the worst fucking day. It was honestly the worst. I cried. It was just awful. It was really, really bad. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone, really. Especially, like I said, even after everything that happened during the year. That was the worst point of the entire year. Just to end off the year, just to end off such a shit traumatic year with such an awful. I hope she doesn't mind me saying, but disrespectful thing. You know what I mean? Just that was the final nail in the fucking coffin. But now I stand here talking to you guys. Hopefully, I'm a reformed man. I know what I'm worth now in the future. I know what if I do get into another relationship. I know what I'm worth. I'm not gonna take any shit sort of thing. If something's a red flag, fuck off. You know what I mean? Boris is saying in the chat, keep your head up. Not standing though. He's like, shut the. But yeah, that is the Forever Fallen 2020. I hope any section of this episode has helped any of you. If it's made you feel more comfortable to come out and talk, that's mission success. You know what I mean? That's mission achieved. But yeah, that is what I went through. I'm okay now. You don't need to worry about me. I'm no longer suicidal. I've got a bit of depression, but I'm a bit upset. I'm not depressed. I'm just upset. You know, I'm getting on with life. You know, I've had a few panic attacks here and there. You know, I've struggled to sleep. I struggled to eat, like I said. But we're getting there. We're getting there. And that's 2021. We're moving forward, and we're being a better us. Yeah, be better is the motto for this year. Is be better. Thank you for listening to my story of 2020. Again, I hope it helped. But now we're gonna go into some chat questions. Thank you again. I appreciate you, and I'm here if you need to talk. Thank you. Right.